Hi everybody, welcome. This is Rob here from the Wizard of Light Academy, and I want to talk to you today about the basic concepts behind marketing. And these are concepts that apply in any business, but specifically we're going to refer to our business, which is running a photography studio, a portrait studio. So this is a summary, so it's not going to go into great detail. However, you will get an email notification if you've signed up for my newsletter, and I will be having a webinar series approaching this particular topic in greater detail and greater depth. So this is a very important topic, and it is one that is often sort of overlooked or we get a little bit distracted because it's easily replaced by more glamorous topics like shooting, photographing, having fun taking pictures and all that good stuff. So, but if you're really serious about running a real legitimate business, I don't care if it's a small volume, a medium volume, or a large volume, it's very important that you follow these strategies to some degree, or to a large degree. I would say that if you're running a commercial location, a larger studio operation, and you have staff, the more structured you are following these concepts, the more systematized you are, I feel very strongly about this, that the more success you will achieve in your business. That's how I operated my studio when I finally, pulled it all together and realized how important these strategies were. And for me, that was about 18 years ago. Not coincidentally, same time I got married and we had our first baby. So life took a very serious, dimension. There was a lot more responsibilities for me with a new baby, and my wife had quit her job as an accountant to come and help me at the studio, and she was now a studio manager. So. Which is good. I mean, it's great to have a husband-wife team. I think that is one of the best scenarios for a successful portrait studio. I took on the marketing, she took on the management, I took on the shooting, creating the different looks for all the different portraiture that we did, and she took on customer service and answering the phone and all things to do with management. But I want to step back a bit and just look at the overall philosophy and principles to do specifically with marketing. Now, marketing is really, really important. Now, selling is an arm of marketing, and again, I don't want to get into that. I just want you to get an overview. So I don't want you to separate selling from marketing. Selling is an arm of marketing. But the three steps, the three strategies that I'm looking at encompass many, many little finer details. And again, I'm not going to get into each one of those in great depth, but more of that will be coming your way. But for now, it's important to understand that when you have this in place, your common goal, and this is really important, your common goal, your number one purpose and reason why you're running your business is to make profits. This is so important to understand. And the way to prosperity, whatever that may be for you, is, and when I say whatever that may be for you, I mean in a monetary sense. We're talking money, we're talking business here, so of course we're going to use dollars. And the number one activity is the acquisition of clients. Okay, this is really important. That is one of the most powerful wealth creation strategies that you have to embed into your consciousness and into your subconscious, the acquisition of clients. All right, I'm going to shut up now and I'm going to get to the three basic concepts to marketing. Number one, whatever it is you're selling, your core product, your core pitch to your client or your prospect or your leads, whether they be warm, hot, or cold leads, your thing that you're expressing to them that has got benefits, reasons why they should be interested in purchasing what it is you have, that's called your message. So I'm going to write that down. Okay, so your message. For photographers, your photography is part of your message. And this is a mistake that a lot of photographers make. They think that all they need is pretty pictures. And I want to try and get you to understand that that is not enough. If you happen to be working in an area and you're getting lots of business and you're really not doing much marketing, and you're getting lots of work, that's because you're working in a vacuum. It's a little bit risky because that may change. If competition moves in and somebody moves in with some real serious marketing, they don't even have to be as good as you, because good marketing with an average product will outdo. So, number one is the message. Now the message is, why, in a nutshell, why should anybody do business with you in your photography studio over anybody else? Okay? List those reasons why, and that'll be the description of your message. Okay, now a message is broken down into many, many components, such as memberships, such as pitches that are specific to different areas, like let's say you're offering a baby's first year wall panel. That's part of your message, which is also the work that you're creating, plus the actual program you've created. So for me, I would have created the baby's first year wall panel. It's a portrait session every 3 months of your baby. At the end of the year, you're going to get a panel with 4 poses. That's an offer, okay? That's a pitch. And that's a very attractive one. And I'll talk a little bit more about that style of pitch in a second when we're going to get to step 2. But your message is that thing that makes you unique. Okay? And I should mention too that publicity, and when I talk about publicity at its very root, I'm talking about word of mouth marketing all the way up to big media publicity. So I take on the whole span. By the way, I've got an awesome webinar that I put on a little while back on publicity, and I get into that in a big, big way. But it's important to understand as well, part of your message is publicity, but what is it that makes you unique? Why should anybody go to you over anybody else? So it's your photography as well. You know, you would say it's your style. What is that look? What is that brand? Okay, so it's a pitch. It could be timely. So it could, say, have to do with Christmas pictures. Seasons, it could have to do with a location, say fall family pictures. These are all things that encompass your message. Let me get my handy wipers here. There are many different influences that determine what your specific message is. So it could be a location, right? It could be time. Oh, did I mention that already? Okay, I'm sorry. Your message is your program, packages. Okay, packages. A lot of photographers don't like using packages, and they like to go a la carte. Well, in a sense, you're still offering a package. It's just not specific. I believe in packages, and I've got another video coming on just that topic alone. But packages are good because people relate to them. They respond to them. You get to list out things that make them feel like they belong to it, or it belongs to them, or it's a good fit. Okay, so that's really true with programs and packages. So when you create a program or a package that fits with your particular client, that fits and is a reflection of your photographic style, you got a good match. Okay, so you take that message and number 2, ding, you find the best market for it. Okay? And your market is who is most likely to respond to that. Now let's break this down a little bit more, shall we? Geography. So you can take a geographic area and say, well, that's where my market is. Now that's a bit bland and it's a little bit vague. A better technique is to look at your demographics. All right? So you look at a man and a woman, say for example, between the ages of 30 to 50 with 2.3 kids, a minivan, and a station wagon. That's a demographic. Perhaps you could throw in there, they have a certain income, or they shop at a certain store. Those are all demographics. Those are things that describe facts about them, statistics about them, or behaviors about them. Okay? A better technique is to take a mix of the two, geo and demo. My demo looks like Pemo. My D looks like a P. Geo-demo mix, all right? So you've got a geographic area, and within that geographic area, you now break down the demographics, okay? So that's a mix of the geographic and demographic. Okay, so those are the first 3 steps. 1, 2, 3. There are 5. These 3 are the weakest. The next 2 are your most potent. When you're looking at your market, the next one, now things are starting to get a little warm. You see, these clients are people that are now going to have some sort of an affiliation, a connection with you. And that's the word I like to use, is affiliation. So let's say, for example, you belong to the YMCA. You might make a pitch to other members of the YMCA, and you could send them a letter or a postcard or an email. You could say, dear fellow YMCA members, hi, this is Rob from Westmount Photography. Did you know that we have a special on exclusive for YMCA members? Okay, that's a pitch. That's a message. Did you get that? I created a message that was exclusive for that affiliation. Okay, doesn't matter about the demographics or the geographic, because it's not important anymore. We're communicating with them at a different level. We're now part of the same club. You can use that strategy for clubs you belong to, for example, the Rotary, or you could belong to United Way, or you could belong to any fundraising campaign group. Anything in your city, in your community that you belong to, you could have that connection with other members as well. There's many, many different ways to make an affiliation. In my city, I belong to the professional theater. I'm their official photographer. So I get access to that group of people, as well as the local symphony. I get access to them. So there's many ways to use affiliations. I would like to say a referral system is an affiliation as well. So if you have a happy client, you can set up something where they will spread the word for you and refer others just like them to you. Okay, that's an affiliation. Very important. Now the final one, this is the most qualified, the hottest leads of all leads that you can work with. Past clients. Now if you do everything right, and you've got happy clients, they will come back to you. I've noticed that in my studio. Many, many clients come back, and by default, they bring other different types of sessions with them, and they refer many of their family and friends and neighbors and people that they're affiliated with. It's a wonderful, wonderful tool. It's a great way to connect to people and make sales. Past clients. Now, if this isn't working out, it means you screwed it up. Something went wrong. So maybe they're lukewarm. If you have a lukewarm client, you want to have a client who's really, really happy. From A to Z, first contact all the way through to final sale, hanging the prints up in their home, including small things. Sometimes it's the small things that matter, like sending them a thank you card in the mail. So these little things, these little touches, the whole experience, including the product, and the fact that they feel they get good value, even though it's a serious investment, they're part of your family. They feel that strong a connection with you. And it's a wonderful place to be. And it's not something that you necessarily achieve within months. To me, it takes years to build that, but it's worthwhile building. And to me, that is the key to creating a long-term, profitable, successful photography studio, is to create a list of past clients. If you're brand new and you don't have that yet, well, you just got to start with one. You go back through the list and you start creating pitches and offers and going through the demographics, the geographics, the affiliations, until you get a client. And then when you get a client, they're your most valued target market. They're the ones that you send your promotions down the road to. You send newsletters to them. If you communicate with them and send them a mailed newsletter, send email, do a blog post, and Facebook fan page and whatnot. But imagine taking it up a notch by sending them something in the mail that they actually physically pick up. It's amazing. So you want to make that connection on an ongoing basis, constantly, all the time. So your past clients, the more that list grows, the more your sales and year by year the profits will expand. You'll notice that'll happen. So your past clients are your most valued clients. Really quick synopsis. Geography, demographics, geo-demo mix. You may have heard of me talking about these before. So I talk about this all the time. This is in my DNA now. Affiliation and past clients. All right, in order of priority, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 5 being the highest priority. All right, this was step 2. Let's now go to the final step, and the least important. I'll explain why. Number 3 is media. Media is the delivery mechanism. How are you going to deliver the message to that market? Okay? You can look at things that come to mind right away are obviously big media, TV, print, radio, magazines, billboards. That's big mass media. And perhaps in there you can mix some vans. For some photography studios use the skins around their vans. Very dynamic, very impactful pictures. I would qualify that as a moving billboard, so that qualifies as big media. But here's the way it works. You don't need to go into big media, because if you've got a good message and you've targeted your market and you know who that market is, you can deliver that message to that market in the most efficient, most cost-effective way possible. I like to use sales letters delivered, sales messages delivered by email, postcards, newsletters, especially mailed to past clients, because they're the most receptive. When they get a newsletter from you and it's got an old-fashioned stamp with a hand-addressed envelope, it's something that looks like they would have received from their grandparents or their grandma or their mom. So first of all, then they'll recognize you and they'll be very, very eager to open it. It won't be qualified as junk mail. And second to that, not as effective but very powerful, is what I've done in my studio for many, 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 many years, is mailing the baby's first year letter to parents who just had a baby. That's a perfect target market. That's perfectly describes the demographics of a very targeted lead. And I built my baby business based on that idea. A lot of people would not have found me had I not sent them something in the mail, and they get this in the mail and they go, wow, that's a pretty good program and it's a very attractive offer. The phone rang off the hook. It was like crazy, crazy. So that's just one example of media, and in that case that was mailing something. Now a lot of people think that direct mail is dead, and that's wrong, wrong, wrong. It's not dead. That's like saying radio is dead because the internet's here. Or back in the day, they used to say that radio was dead when TV came on board. Well, radio's not dead. I mean, think about it. We have satellite radio now. We pay to get radio. It's crazy. So direct mail will never, never, never die. As a matter of fact, I think it's got more opportunity now than ever, because a lot of people think this, and a lot of people are going to strictly online, internet-based marketing. So when you look at media, I think it's wisest to choose the cheapest. Go cheap, because the cheapest happens to be the most effective. Okay? So letters. Okay, you don't just get a letter and just drop it from an airplane, thousands of letters in your city. to targeted leads that are very qualified, starting with past clients, or very tightly niched targeted leads, such as parents who just had a baby. Email is good. Any social media is good. And I think the big mistake here is when people go to just one of these and they say, well, I tried it, it doesn't work, so they give up. Or they have good success with Facebook, and so they think everything else sucks and they don't work with it. Blogging is in here too, but I'm a big believer in this concept. Don't try and find that one technique that's going to work for you to find 100 clients. There's no one technique to get 100 clients. Use 100 techniques to get one client, and then you get one, you get two, and then you get three, and that's how you build. So blogging, social media, email, letters, your website, obviously that's part of blogging. Another technique I love to use, and it ties in with either letters or postcards, is affiliation marketing using a cheap technique in the media department. So, for example, when I do not Babies First Year, when I do Fairy Day, when I do Fairy Day in the spring and in the fall in my studio, I do all of these, and plus the phone, okay? My wife will get on the phone and call clients that she knows that have been to us, and they have little girls, and they go, by the way, we have Fairy Day coming up. Hey, don't be afraid to pick up the phone. So, but what I also do, so I send everybody an email. We have subscribers to our newsletter for the studio, Facebook fan page, personal Facebook page, the blog, which is part of the website, and I'll make up 4x6 cards, and I'll print up 100 of them. Costs about $15. That's it. And what I'll do, let me erase this. This is an example of what I do. So I'll do a postcard, and I'm promoting Fairy Day, which is a one-day event for little girls ages 3 to 9. Come in dressed as a fairy. It's a mini session, 20 minutes, bada boom, bada bing, get about 25, 30 poses. It's like, I forget what it costs, but it's like, it used to be $47. We now charge $80 or $90 or $70, I'm not sure. But it's an attractive price, and we've got a reputation in this town for these. So this is just one example, okay? When you're talking about Fairy Day, it's just one example. You could apply this to any particular product or pitch that you're doing. So I'll get 100 postcards made with a very stunning image of a fairy. I'll get all the pertinent information on the card, and I'll go to the gymnastics club. So if you have a Fairy Day or similar type offer, and you don't really have any affiliations, you better get out there, man. You better start networking. You got to do it, you know? And you probably have a lot more than you think you have. So if you start making a list, don't undervalue or underestimate the power of the people and the places that you belong to in your city. So I'm affiliated with the gymnastics club in my city because I have been going there for 6 years. I don't do gymnastics, but I do cardio kickboxing, and I teach there 3 times a week. So I know everybody there. I've photographed many of them. The owner of the club has recently come in for a family portrait. So I bring a stack of cards there, and I put them in the front. Now, why do I do that? Think about it. It's a gymnastics club. The place is teeming with little girls. 99% of the participants seem to be little girls. There's some boys there, but it's mostly little girls. So I bring a stack of cards. 3 days later, they're gone. I go back, I bring another stack. Okay, so I promote that way, including all the other ways I talked about. So I go to the local dance school, right? Wow, dance school, amazing. There's a store that sells supplies to the dance school. You know, the dance schools do all these recitals and all these different outfits. They go crazy with the costumes. Well, somebody has to supply the costumes, and there's a store. bring them a stack. You can get to these places too, by the way, and ask them if you could put a display on. This is really, really effective affiliation marketing using media, using their place as media. That's a really good example, right? You could do something like going to a 3D ultrasound clinic and giving a promotion for, or getting a display up for newborn babies. So media, you want to go cheap, 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 cheap. You don't want to go expensive. You see, what happens is people think, they get caught in this magical thinking that, well, I'm spending $3,000 on that ad with the radio. It's got to work, it's expensive. Then they get into this magical thinking, and you got to not fall victim to that, because media has that allure, it has that magical call to it that many of us can fall victim to. It's not bad if you got the money for it. If you've got money to burn, go ahead, get the moving billboard, go ahead, put on TV ads, run TV and radio ads if you want. But don't ever do it if you're in building phase and you're on a light, tight budget. So you got to be careful. For me, I don't even see any use for big media. It's just not even on my radar. So I like using cheap media. I'm just going to close this section off with just a reminder. The best cheap media is contact, okay, with past clients. Email, newsletters, phone, Facebook, social media, whatever that is, including direct mail. Because you know when you send them something, and if they love you, you want to get that love on, they will respond. If they don't, they'll tell their friends anyways about you. So that's it in a nutshell, guys. And the big three, here they are. Message, market, media. And I'll close off this little demonstration of mine just by reminding you again. The number one, you have to follow these steps. Number 1, 2, 3. So the number one thing you want to remember is do not skip any steps. Can you see that? What we get tempted to do is jump to here, jump to number 3. Okay? And we skip number 1, we skip number 2. You know, we get a pretty logo going, a nice sign, and we think that that's enough of a message. Okay, so you want to watch that thinking. You want to always start with number 1, which is your message, go to number 2, which is your market, and then work number 3 using very efficient, very affordable, yet very effective marketing. So that's marketing in a nutshell. You can break it down into finer details, more on that later, but for now I want you to understand and really get these concepts deeply ingrained into your head. And also the most important concept, and this is a wealth and prosperity concept, and that is that in business, the number one activity is the acquisition of clients. That is the number one activity. That should get top priority, above and beyond everything else. I can throw in that too, having goals, having a good business plan, knowing where you want to be next year and in 5 years, next month, having a good solid set of goals, very, very important. But the way you achieve that is by building a business based on good marketing concepts driven by that one idea. But your number one activity is the acquisition of clients. All right, I'm out of here. Thanks, guys. Bye for now.